pretty hard act to follow. And before I really get going, I want to thank the school staff and the administration and the teachers and the faculty and the students. You guys put some effort into this program. You had to do some research, and I know you did songs, and what, you had to read what some of the jobs in the military were. And one of you said, maybe you can do that someday. Come talk to me afterwards. I'll have something for you. We'll have that. And what a great introduction I got from Gilles. And when she left, I slipped her a coin. Because Gilles, too, is she's a family member of a veteran. And so she's had to suffer some of that. As a sergeant major in the Army, you get to kind of pass out your own coin. So when I shook her hand, I slipped her the last one I had when I left Iraq. I hope she appreciates that. Now, I am honored to be here today and represent the United States Army as we pay tribute to all those who have served and all those who are serving over the years. We're here today to honor the service members and to remember the sacrifice they have made and the courage it takes to defend honor, duty, and country. Before going any further, I think we need to take this time to have all the veterans in the audience please stand up. Thank you for answering the call to duty you have made. Our armed forces, we are the most respected armed forces in the world. We're not respected because of our might, because of our technology. We're respected because of the men and women behind that. Their values, their integrity. That's why we're respected across the world. I'd also like to thank the family members of any service member. I'd like them to stand also. Family members of any service member. A lot of you are the ones that were left home to go through the hardships to keep the fire burning. So look up to them. I saw my wife stand up. 29 years in the military, 30 years of marriage. Out of that, I think she saw me for 22 of it. Remaining times, I was either in another country or far enough away that she could not join me. So what is Veterans Day? What was that? I think you're right. I think some of you have said this out here, how we celebrate the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. What does that mean? I can open any history book and find that. Where did that originate from? There was an armistice at the end of World War I. An armistice is a ceasefire, a peace. A peace will end the wars, the war to end all wars. 1919. It's not just the United States that celebrates it. It's now called Veterans Day. In many other countries, it is called Remembrance Day. Great Britain, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, South Africa, Australia, Netherlands, all take different ways to celebrate this exact same day, November 11th. Because that ceasefire went into effect on the 11th hour, even though it was signed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I can only imagine sitting there, if I was sitting in trench warfare, with your feet wet, and maybe you haven't had a shower in months, wet feet, and to finally have that ceasefire, knowing that soon you'll be getting to go on a ship, probably take you 35, 40 days to get home as you're sailing across the ocean. But you know the end is near. I can imagine what a great feeling that would be. Did that really answer what Veterans Day is? I always thought Veterans Day was a good day to go shop all the sales, isn't it? Get a good price on a car, or get a good price on a pair of shoes, or the couch I need. No, Veterans Day is set aside to honor, to pay tribute to the men and women who have sacrificed to defend the freedom, as many of the students here recognize. It's a day to say thank you to the men and women who wore the uniform. It doesn't matter what uniform they wore, or how long they wore it, if it was Army, active duty, military, National Guard, or reserves. They are all veterans. Doesn't matter if they have 29 years like I have, or if they have 1 year of service. Because we all have one thing in common. We raised our right hand and we took an oath to swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I think the one group up here had that they're happy that they can live in freedom, they can go to sleep at night, they can drive their pickup down the road and see the sights of beautiful America. That's what veterans, that's what the folks up here have given you. And to that, that's why we have this day, to honor that and to treasure that. Veterans are this nation's unsung heroes. Their families and friends may have been the only ones who knew their names, who knew the sacrifices they made to serve our country. In peacetime especially, it was easy to forget that these men and women were on duty in lonely outposts around the world. Our veterans have missed births of their children, wedding anniversaries, and graduations. They have spent holidays in soggy rice paddies in Vietnam, amid the stinging sands of the Iraq desert, and in the cold, rugged mountains of Eastern Europe. Abraham Lincoln made a promise to veterans in his second inaugural address, when he said that Americans would care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphans. Many men and women have never lived to wear the title veteran. They died on foreign soil defending the cause of freedom around the world. President Reagan once said, most of those who died in defense of our country were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives. The one was they were living, and the other was the one they would have had. They gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandparents. They gave up everything for their country, and all we can do is remember. As we sit here today, just here this morning, we have service members stationed over in 100 countries around the world. And they're probably not getting the chance to do a Veterans Day celebration. Some are still in war, whether that war's in Afghanistan. Yes, we still have some in Iraq, whether it's in the Philippines or whether it's in Africa. We're still engaging in minor combat throughout the world. Others are in South Korea, defending the attack or defending any tyranny from North Korea. For those we thank you. I was going to make this real brief, and then this morning I had a couple things that popped into my mind as you students did this for me. And one, I'm going to tell a story when I was over for the Operation Joint Endeavor, which was Bosnia, and I got put into Germany for a while and 30 days into Belgium. And if you're familiar with Belgium and the Battle of the Bulge, you'll understand where this is going to go here. I finally had a weekend off, so I got a very good friend of mine, and we played football together in college, but also a service member. We were in different parts of Germany deployed, and I gave him a call and said, hey, let's go take a tour of the Battle of the Bulge on Memorial Day weekend. All right. So we took the tour, and we ended up in Brussels, which is the capital of Belgium. And we knew they had a museum for World War II. And so we go in there, we're looking at all the old weapons and vehicles and all the uniforms that the soldiers wore at that time. As I'm going through there, I'm behind this older gentleman, and I assume it was his wife. And every place we went, he was describing in detail everything that went on during that battle. I was behind a living, walking history book. And he sat there one time, he looked at his wife and goes, you know what, right in this area right here is where I spent 30 days with never taking off my boots. I go, ooh. How many of you take your shoes off every night? So there are 30 days of not taking off boots. Think that'd have been a little funky? And at the time, I was an infantry soldier. You're thinking you can carry this big rucksack and you're rough and tough. I'm thinking, I don't know if I was tough as that guy ever was. Can you hear me now? No. I'm glad I can still hear you. And the other thing that really touched my heart when I just got off of active duty at Rock Island Arsenal over in the Quad Cities, and we get these messages, and they would say there's an honor flight that's landing at the airport. If you don't know what the honor flights are, is that we take World War II veterans and Korean veterans, and some organization, some company pays for their flight to DC, and they get to view the memorials established for them. And so I got to the airport like 9 o'clock at night. The plane was supposed to land at 10. I was not expecting what I saw. There was about 500 to 1,000 people crammed in a small airport to welcome these people as they come off the airplane. Those that could walk, walked. It didn't matter if they walked without help. Some walked with a cane, some with a walker. Those that couldn't were in a wheelchair, moving themselves or being pushed. And they were exhausted. Oh my God, they were exhausted. It was, I'm sure, well past their bedtime as that plane landed. But it was so neat to see them come off, and they were proud. And they were also shocked to see that many people shaking their hands and clapping and cheering as they come off the airplane. And then one more real quick about a non-veteran, a non-service member. The guy I just happened to meet in Iraq in 2003 as a chance, as an assignment I was given. How many know Lieutenant Dan? Forrest Gump? Okay. Gary Sinise was part of a USO tour, one of the first USO tours that came into Iraq in 2003. And sometimes with the position I had, they looked at me and said, hey, so you're going to have security for Gary Sinise. Who's Gary Sinise? Well, they said Lieutenant Dan. It's okay, got it. Okay, I know who that is. What an awesome individual. Down to earth. Very respectful to the military. So he did a show with the other actors and singers that come over to Iraq to entertain the troops. But afterwards, he wanted to go out and see these small villages of Iraq, as we heard that he had heard that the American soldiers were rebuilding schools and rebuilding hospitals. He wanted to see that firsthand. Anytime you take a non-military person in an armored convoy and get them outside, it's not a good deal. But he was willing to risk his life to see what American soldiers were doing to benefit that country. And he still does that today. He does that also, I believe, in Afghanistan. He's been to Iraq 15 times that I know of to entertain the troops. And even today, he still sends money into the schools into Iraq to keep their children educated, so they no longer are put down by another dictator. They understand the power of education. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I just thought, here's an actor that's going to come with some kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, so I'm going to get my career better, and he definitely did not do that. American veterans can look around the globe proudly, surveying the results of their shared sacrifices. Hundreds of emerging and established democracies where the citizens now live in freedom. To all veterans, we say thank you. Thanks for your sacrifice, your sense of duty, and for your service. Our nation salutes you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.